Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast from the International Disc Golf Center. This is Worlds Recap, day number 1.
We don't have a number?
We do. Well, Worlds Recap day 1 is the number.
Okay, 1's the number.
This is Johnny V and
how's it going?
Terry Miller, the disc golf guy. We're at the International Disc Golf Center, as I said, in Appling, Georgia. That's Columbia County, and we're excited to be here as...
Let's see some live disc golf.
Yeah, but we can't do that.
Come on.
No, we can't. We've got to make it crystal clear to everyone. Hopefully that if you guys are here and you're already tuned in, you kind of already know what's going on. But in case you don't, just to put it out there, again, both the International Disc Golf Center as well as Fort Gordon, unfortunately, just do not have the cell phone service that is required in order for us to provide a live signal for you guys. It's
kind of like a double-edged sword because these courses are gorgeous. They're long, they're wooded, what everybody wants to see. You hear so many people complain about the Heiser Fests we get out at the golf courses. This is not that at all. The problem is when you get some courses like this, they tend to be out in the outskirts of the city, which really hurts us in general. So you're going to get to see some awesome golf, just not when it happens.
Not exactly live. Today I grabbed the camera, I ran out to the Jackson course. I walked around a few different areas, especially around the par 3 areas where you could see some really heartbreaking and some really rewarding shots. Some refer to as Turkey Gulch, I believe. So we've got a lot of shots. We're going to be able to show you a few of those. Our buddy Dalton assembled those for us today, so thank you very much to him. But we'll show you some of those. I also got a quick interview with Ragna, who's back on the scene. Many of you have been missing her because she stepped away. She had a child a little while ago, so she's back. This is her first big event. She said she played 7 or 8 small events, but now she's back on the world scene. I also caught up with Greg Barsby, and this spoiler, along with plenty of others, Greg Barsby finds himself on the 2nd card tomorrow.
What?
Very solid day, good performance out there today, and he'll be on the 2nd card, and he will be covered in post-production tomorrow as well.
Yeah, so from my understanding, what's going to happen with post-production is tomorrow, CCDG will have the lead card, Jomez will have the chase card,
okay,
and then Prodigy will have the FPO, is my understanding, for tomorrow. Now, you guys might see tonight, but I doubt it, more than likely tomorrow morning, today's rounds that happened out on those particular channels.
Okay, so that's where you can find it. And then again, we're going to do our best to try and mix in some shots and have some various segments throughout the week. We're also going to have a number of interviews here each of the nights during our nightly recaps. One of our special guests tonight will be Jeremy Rusco. Why Jeremy Rusco, you say? He was the last guy technically in charge of Pro Worlds before it came here to Appling. So we're going to talk to him as the torch has officially been passed now that we're through the first day of competition. And later on in the week, we're going to have next year's Pro Worlds TD. That's Jeff Spring, who also is the tournament director for the Green Mountain Championships out in Vermont. So we're going to have him, and he'll be able to provide us a little bit of insight and some information into the 2018 Worlds, where Johnny, you and I recently learned something that maybe we'll talk about when we get him here.
Yeah.
Very unique situation even for next year's Pro Worlds, and that'll be your little tease. But news to both you and me.
I found out this news 2 days ago, and I remember you found it out yesterday, I believe. And
last night?
Yeah. I want to talk about it, but we can save it. We can save it.
We can review. Joe is our new executive director here at the PDGA. We reached out to him immediately after it was announced. I think we also announced that we broke the story.
We broke the story that Tuesday night.
And Joe wanted to remain good on his word and say that he wanted to give the first official interview to SmashBoxx. So we, with open arms, will welcome Joe. We'll probably be talking to him tomorrow night. We're excited to do so that we can introduce our new PDGA executive director to the rest of the world. So we hope that you're tuned in and enjoying it. As always, please interact with us on the live chat found on YouTube. Of course, we know there's live chatting going on, taking place on the PDGA's Facebook page probably, also the SmashBoxx page on Facebook. We appreciate it. As Johnny V and I try and keep all of our eyes on anything, it's usually the live chat on YouTube. So if you want to interact with us, ask us questions, berate us, do whatever you want to do. Let us know over here on the YouTube page. Some people talk about it's...
I will ban any person that uses the word spoiler in our chat. You know better now. Come on, we're here for the nightly wrap-up, so we're going to tell you what happens.
And Seth actually brings up a great point that I do want to point out. We are in a very special place. This is the International Disc Golf Center. A few weeks ago when I visited, I gave everyone a little bit of a tour. And this is a special place. I was here when this opened, I believe it was 2006, time frame 2006, 2007 for the grand opening. It is a magical place that anyone can visit. You don't have to be a PDGA member, but directly behind us is in fact the PDGA Hall of Fame. Some gorgeous plaques, so many different people obviously deserving and then some. Just a gorgeous backdrop, really. I don't think we'll ever have quite this.
No, this is the best backdrop in disc golf. I love looking at some of these because I recognize a lot of these stamps that I have the discs for sitting in my studio downstairs in the basement. But it's really cool seeing all the different plaques. Everyone from Levon Wolf to David Greenwell, Marty Hapner, Stansel, Mark Horn, just who's who.
Just to name of course, just to name a few. And as I look behind Johnny's, I see Jeff and Johnny Lissaman, Tim Selinsky, Sam Ferens, Carlton Howard, John Hauk, and one of that name is particularly specific to today because John Hauk was the primary designer of the course that everyone played today. So it's the course they played today and in 2 days from now.
He's the one they're cursing?
Some are.
Under their breath, maybe? Like
some are and some aren't. But so a great start out at the Jackson course. So to clarify for everyone, anyone that played the Jackson course today at the International Disc Golf Center, in fact, moves over to the Fort Gordon course tomorrow. So that's all of the A pool, which are our leaders, at least of the A pool, all of the A pool who played here today, along with what are deemed as the C pool, which is the women. I feel like they could have been an A pool, but however you want to call it. The women have their own pool, and all of the women competitors played here at Jackson today. They are teeing off first and opening up the day over at Fort Gordon, and then it will unfold from there. And we'll talk a little bit about the tee times, the groups to watch. As we said, Joe Mez and Central Coast will be on lead card and second card. I will likely have a focus then on the third card. It seems to be a pretty exciting card to watch as they all are.
I mean, the third card I believe has Wysocki and Eagle on it. So you really, I mean, those are two of the hottest names right now. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to be going around and getting some extra footage, just some random stuff. Maybe if I can tomorrow, if on some spots, I might try to do some Facebook Live for everybody. One of the things I would like to do as well is take some of the recordings that I do and make them exclusive to our Patreon members. So I'm hoping to get some shots and some of the best ones I might just hold back and give to just to our patrons. So if you want to have access to that, you know where to go. Patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
There you go. So, as I said, we're also going to be catching up with Dynamic Disc very own Jeremy Rusco. We're going to have him on in about 10 minutes or so.
How did he shoot today?
I believe he was par. No bogeys.
That's good. That's solid.
And I think that's a good day for him. Also, here in our massive studio audience, we also have Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, Bobby Brown, along with Robert McCall. Robert, do you have a nickname we should be announcing?
He has a different nickname every podcast I listen to, so it's...
And lots of other suggestions.
Yeah, and lots of suggestions.
Some of them probably can't make it on the podcast, is my guess. This is actually the funny. We've worked with Robert quite a bit. This is the first time actually I've ever got to touch him.
Yes, and his hair.
I'm glad you phrased it that way.
It's my pleasure, my pleasure.
And from what we've gathered in talking with Bobby Brown, he's out there assembling shots of both the men's and women's, a little bit of action from everywhere. You're going to see some stuff put out on their channel from Dynamic Disc, and then Bobby, if he has some time, he's going to share some of that action with us so that we can bring it to you in some of the future nightly wrap-up shows as well. So I know someone on there was just clamoring for some shots. You're going to see a few shots and our montage in a little while, so we'll get that out for you guys. Oh, maybe it should just be Robert nickname McCall. We could go with that.
Sure, we can do that.
Johnny, let's talk a little bit about the scores. Let's start on the women's side.
Okay.
And talk about what we saw there and really if there were any surprises.
I wouldn't say there were any surprises. We have Paige Pierce leading the field.
I've heard of her.
Yes, as have I. Paige shot a 2-under, which is a 989 rated round. So she kind of slacked off a little bit from normal. She's been averaging not well over, but just over 1,000 lately. She only shot a 989, but she's still beating the field by 3 strokes. So she's 3 strokes over one of my fantasy disc golf picks, Elaine King, and current reigning world champion Valerie Jenkins.
Yeah, so it looks like they're going to be all teeing at 9:40 tomorrow, and rounding out the card, Lisa Ficus. And I was following, again, some of the women as they were coming in this afternoon. Lisa had made her final putt of the day. She said it was for a bogey 6 on a very challenging par 5. And one of the caddies that was walking along had said, nice job, if I was following along as we were going. Very aggressive putter, and it's always dead center of the chains when she's running at something. Today she had a death putt out there, no fear whatsoever, dead center chains, and it was for a great birdie on the little 3-hole stretch. So we'll see that a little bit later as well. So again, your lead card for tomorrow has Paige Pierce sitting at 2 under par, Elaine King and Valerie Jenkins tied at +1, and Lisa Ficus at +2. And I think that's the official pronunciation of ficus, just so you know, because a lot of people are wondering, how in the world would you say that?
I wouldn't know.
On the second card, we see Sarah Lamberson, also along with Katka, Katrina Allen, and Hannah Leatherman. So they shot, 2 of them had shot +3, and then a +4 by Katrina and by Hannah. So that is your second card. They'll be teeing off at 9:30, and then what looks to be your third card at 9:20 includes Ragna, Sarah Hokum, Karina Knowles, and Jessica Weiss. That looks like your 9:20 card. So as expected, still very tight on the field. Not a ton of score separation there.
No, it's really tough on these courses because on any given hole out in this particular course, you can take a 3 or a 6. It's just that type of course. It's extremely wooded, and I have to give credit to Paige because with the power she throws, it didn't look like she got in a ton of danger on a lot of holes. There were just a few blemishes, so to speak. I mean, some of these holes you're just going to take a bogey. You have to expect them. It's the big numbers you really want to get away from.
Well, what we're also getting away from is insights from Paige Pierce directly.
Ooh.
She's officially on a media blackout this week. What does that mean for us?
That means that we will not probably have any interviews from her, no podcasts. If you remember last year at the, I think we were at the theater last year when she sat in on one of our podcasts the night before the finals. And Paige kind of let us know that this week she really wants to just focus on her game, maybe take in some of the after-hours stuff with all the other competitors, but for the most part, she's going to stay quiet. She does not want to, probably jinx would be the word I use.
Well, and we've seen a number of our competitors talk about that strategy. I think we also see a lot of professional athletes. Yep. Aaron Rodgers, that one quarterback guy out of Wisconsin.
He stays off of Twitter from...
the entire season, correct?
Yeah, basically from training camp through the Super Bowl.
So,
assuming we get there.
Ricky Wysocki has been another one who's talked about it. He's been both ways of it in terms of saying, you know, he doesn't post during a tournament. He felt like there was a superstition to that for a little while where he really just stayed away from social media. And I think we have a number of competitors that really take that approach to it, thinking, okay, I don't want to distract myself. I don't necessarily want to read the highs or the lows that can come from looking at social media.
We've even said, I think Ulibarri told us in the past that he actually gets a hotel room all to himself. I don't know if that's the case this week. I haven't had a chance to talk with him, but he's told us in the past that he doesn't even stay with his wife, with Katrina, that he just gets a place to himself so he can really focus on his golf and not think about anything else. So I'll be curious to catch up with him later this week to see if he continued that trend this year.
Yeah, I saw him out there. I also talked to his caddy, Shane, who comes in from Wisconsin, just a caddy for the event. And I asked him, well, how did the round go out there? And he's like, he started off a little slow, and then he kind of got it together. Oh, I'm sorry, not Shane.
You
I'm
said
sorry,
Shane.
Alan. I'm sorry, yeah.
Alan Stewart.
Alan and Shane are good buddies. I apologize. Alan was out here, and Alan has a Yuli tattoo on his leg, so he's a dedicated.
Yeah. It's nothing like the McCall tattoo I have on my back, but
well, the thing is, to sidetrack, I've heard Robert's a team manager, yet no tattoos of any DD players on him yet.
not yet.
I don't know if that's real dedication.
I heard if he doesn't get to 1,000 rated, that's what Bobby gets to do. It's not just a disc; it's a tattoo.
Okay. So anyway, I talked to Alan. He said that Yuli had a little bit of a slow start, and then he kind of got it together in the last couple of holes, which is really, if we polled our players here today, a lot of them would tell you, yeah, things were great, whatever, but they then talk about 17 and 18. Those are two super challenging holes to finish on at this course, and a lot of people say, yeah, I gave 1 or 2 back on those 2 holes, or 3 or 4, or whatever it was. A pair of very, very difficult holes in 17 and 18 to finish up at this course. So he said he finished a little bit, he had a few challenges as he finished up. He ended up, I think, with a -4, and he felt okay with that. So yeah, we'll see how things go.
Yeah, Yuli finished with a bogey and then an eagle.
Okay, so one of them, okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did. He said he threw a phenomenal roller to get himself within 25. He went past the basket, 25 past the basket on hole 18 to make the comebacker on a par 5, 756 feet or whatever it was, uphill, around a bend, through downtown Augusta and back. It's a ridiculous hole.
Yeah, there were only, from my count, there were only 4 eagles on that hole.
Including an early one I saw by Drew Gibson,
Tillman,
if I recall today.
Gibson, Yuli, and Kevin McCoy.
Kevin McCoy.
He was one of those guys that's, he can play in the Masters field. He dominates around here very, it's a lot him and, I think, Childress. Is it Childress that he goes up against?
Childs.
Childs, sorry, yeah, Josh Childs. And it's kind of surprising to see McCoy be able to get that distance and,
Well, he should have these courses dialed in.
He is from the area. He's a PDGA board member, and
I don't know if that gives him any advantage being on the board.
He's not on this wall.
But he's not on this one.
He's not on this board.
All right. Well, we're going to talk more about the men's scores, along with a little bit more insight on the women's side and the cards that we're going to see tomorrow. But I think right now we're going to welcome in Jeremy Rusco, and we're going to have a little quick conversation with him to kind of talk about last year's Worlds as we're transitioning here into the 2017 Worlds. This guy's got it down. Yeah, he's a pro.
My first time without the headset.
I think it should still work.
I like it.
So officially welcoming is in fact Doug Bjerka. So huge hats off to Doug, and this is all part of your overall vision and scope. But here we are at the World Championships. We've shifted from Emporia into Augusta and Appling and Fort Gordon. What are some of your impressions?
Well, it is awesome to be here. This is my first time to the IDGC. And you see stuff on, you see stuff online, you see pictures, and but it's different to be here, and it's great to see. It's great to see the Hall of Fame wall. It's great to see the museum, the Steady Ed Museum. It's great to see the staff and the offices and just the complex, in full and in 3 courses. And it's a really cool thing to be here. And I think this is a great place for a World Championships. And I'm excited to see 3 more rounds of disc golf this week.
Well, I know you and the rest of the crew, Bobby and Robert McCall, just got in last night, so you haven't even seen the magnitude of this place in terms of the 2 other great courses that are here. What a facility.
Yeah.
To be able to come here, and again, not exclusive to PDGA members, everyone is welcome, general public and beyond, but what a facility to be at.
Yeah, I mean, the job well done out here for sure. I know they're constantly making improvements. The PDGA is constantly making improvements, and the courses just continue to get fine-tuned and tweaked. And there's just so much history here, and it's hard to find that in one place. And having that here at the IDGC is a very cool thing for the sport and for us newcomers to the game to actually get to soak it all in for a little bit.
It is. It's great to experience it, as you're saying. So I'm assuming you didn't get a chance yet to see Fort Gordon, the beast that course really is. I believe it's 10 or 11,000 feet. It's massive and maybe more challenging, not quite as wooded as what we have at the International Disc Golf Center. what have you heard, and maybe what are you expecting as we go out there tomorrow? I hope I didn't just scare you.
Well, I hope that they let you in the front gate first and foremost. But I don't know about it. I haven't done my research on everything, but obviously it's going to be a big course, and I've heard different players say different things where a big arm has an advantage, and I've heard other players say it doesn't really matter a whole lot. And so I'm excited to see what things shape up to be out there tomorrow. And I heard the front nine is just gorgeous, beautiful. And one of the other things I heard is that there's, for at least the final round, there's expected to be a pretty big gallery from the base, and I think that's a really cool thing. And of course, we'll see how that shapes out. I'm excited to check the course out tomorrow, and of course, there's going to be some great golf to be had, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of shift into the scores.
So one of the first questions really should have been is, what exactly are you doing here? You're not playing. I don't know why not. When you come to an event like this, and you're not filming like we know Bobby is, and you're not caddying like we know Robert is, what are you doing here?
I got my media credentials today, Terry.
Oh gosh. Did somebody let you log into Facebook or what?
Well, Snapchat. Okay. I can't. I don't got the Facebook or Instagram credentials just yet, but I'm working on that constantly. But really, just to support the team here. We don't have a tremendous amount of players from Dynamic Discs, but between Dynamic Discs, Latitude 64, and Westside Discs, there's a lot of players, and of course, Paige Pierce is she's on a mission this week, and we absolutely are supporting her amongst everybody else in full. And it's just the World Championships is always a celebration of the sport. And it's a great opportunity to get to see everybody, and a great opportunity to see the PDGA and the International Disc Golf Center for the first time for me. And it's the World Championships is just something that I always want to be at.
Now, Paige is usually really good about giving me some insider information and let me know what's going on. But is there anything you can share with us that you could be the conduit? Is there anything you know that maybe I don't know? Or, I mean, we spoke of the media blackout, so to speak.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw me back there.
She's not going to talk to you then, maybe either.
Oh no. She's focused. She's got her. She's trying to make sure that she has got one thing on her mind, and that's the ultimate goal for the week, which is taking home a world title. And we all know that she's got every skill and ability and desire to make that happen. And she seems dialed in, and I know she's got her own. She wants to make sure that she can separate herself in the evenings and really not get involved in too much outside of some spike ball out there.
Of course.
She said they were only going to play one game and they played three. But no, I don't have any inside information on that. But I'm definitely excited to see 3 more rounds of the top females in the game, and we'll see who comes out on top.
All right, and then I know we had just referenced a few moments ago, we saw Drew Gibson. Who else do we have out here representing DD? We're missing Eric McCabe. Everyone's missing him.
Well, he'll be here Thursday.
Okay, so he'll be here probably on the bag, helping out and whatnot. Any other representatives that we were looking at?
We got Zach Melton.
Okay, yep.
Who's out there playing? Eric Oakley.
Okay, Tina Sinitis is out there.
Tina.
Yep. Okay.
And I think I'm missing somebody, and that makes me feel bad. But
no.
I already said him. I said Blazik.
I think we have 7 players.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm not trying to.
Yeah.
But it's certainly some other people to go out and I know Tina and Eric were having some car troubles and ultimately finally got in.
Not car troubles, RV troubles. Those are worse than car troubles.
Yes. And they got in late last night. Ultimately, I saw her out on the course. Of course, they both had smiles on their faces as they always do. So
as always,
it seems like that's going to work out just fine. Any tips as the torch has been officially passed now, like you said, from Emporia, and now you guys are going to bring back another Worlds for the juniors next year. But if somebody's out there thinking, we just have these 2 major divisions to worry about. We could do it on maybe as few as 2 courses. Any tips if someone's thinking about, man, how do we put on a large scale event, a Worlds or any other large scale event?
Well, talking just outside earlier with next year's TD.
Jeff Spring.
I think there's the saying, if you build it, they will come, is definitely something for everybody to keep in mind. And he had a vision a few years ago to share disc golf with some important people, and he shared it, and they got on board and built a complex and a facility, which I unfortunately have not been to yet, and I can't wait to, because I only hear amazing things about it. But that'll definitely happen next year. But yeah, I mean, I think, really, if anybody wants to get behind disc golf and support disc golf and support big events, you can bring a World Championships to a community, to any community, as long as you got good courses, good people, and a good community that's willing to get behind it. And that's exciting, because now we don't have to have 5 courses or 6 courses, or like Charlotte, 10 courses, or whatever that is, to host a World Championships. You can do it with a few courses, because of the separation that's happened for this year. And I don't know whether players are going to think that it's a good thing or a bad thing. At the end of the day, there's a lot of changes that have happened, and it is different not seeing all the age protected divisions. Doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It's just different, and something's always going to change, and this is something that is happening this year. And I think come Saturday, there will be a clearer picture as to whether the players liked it and supported it, and whether the media feels like it was a good move. And whether good thing or bad thing, it's definitely the World Championships, and there's going to be 2 champions crowned, and it's going to be exciting to see this week.
And speaking of crowned champions, last year the Masters World Champion Johnny McRae takes it down in Emporia, plays for Latitude 64, part of the Trilogy family, and here he is, 25% in. He's after 1 round. He is your leader, and he's not a co-leader. He's not edged somebody out by a good putt at the last, on the last hole. He has currently a 3-stroke lead after round 1. How impressive is that? In his 40s. Unbelievable.
I mean, there's a lot of people that obviously everybody's seeking a world title to a certain degree, but I mean, he's dialed in. Obviously, this course played to his game today, and he's one of the world's best, and he's proven that time and time again. And I will be surprised if we don't see him, as part of the top 4 come Saturday.
Back around 2009 and 2010, we saw Phil Arthur at the time. He won in 2009 in Kansas City in the Masters, came back in 2010 in Indiana and played Open. And everyone's like, that's backwards. What are you doing? So here we have Johnny McRae going after that same feat, and right now is in a great position. So that's interesting to see, and that's certainly one of the advantages to having this split worlds format. Even earlier today, I was talking to Steve Dodge, and he said, "Okay, well, is this a good case that maybe Masters age should start at 50 instead of 40? Because clearly we're seeing Masters age players. Johnny is a little bit of an anomaly, but him and Cam Todd and a Barry Schultz and a Ken Climo." Maybe if Masters was 50, we'd see some of these guys still battling it out, and they're proving they can get it done.
Yeah. Well, I bet Paul McBeth and Ricky Wysocki and
they have some things to still say about that.
Some of those guys are going to have a little something to say about that. But yeah, that is a good point. And I think 40 is the right age.
Okay.
But
how old are you?
33.
Okay. You guys count differently there?
No.
Oh, you're okay.
34 in a month. 34 in a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. Okay. So you're okay with that 40 age, though?
I mean, right now,
sure.
Yeah. But it's impressive to see that Johnny McRae can do that. Phil Arthur obviously had tremendous talent to make a push for that. And I don't know. I think 40 is the age, but
okay. Is it interesting to see that Cam Todd, for instance, who's now sitting in second, and again, we'll dissect that a little later in more in depth, but Cam Todd is your 2016 GBO champion.
Correct.
And now is sitting in second. Johnny McRae has this success in 2016 there, is sitting in first. They're both good on their own, of course, but talk about difference in course style.
Yeah.
I mean, GBO style of courses versus where we are right now. And again, the tournament's far from over, but it's kind of funny. They had such success at GBO, and then here we are in a completely different environment. There's more trees on one hole out here than there is maybe on your whole country
now,
club.
let's not.
I'm just saying, a completely different environment, and I think that shows something to their skill sets.
Well, I mean, the Glassbone Open brings in the world's best players and the world's best shine, and obviously at the World Championships, it's the same deal. And I mean, those guys have been playing disc golf for a long time. They definitely know what they're doing. They've got pretty much any variety of shots that they need, and obviously navigating through these tunnels and through these trees is something that they've figured out over their last many years of play. So I was looking through the PDGA numbers, and I think there was a 4-digit PDGA number on the top, and then it goes 10,000, 10,000, or 10,000, 20,000, and then 60.
6840 probably.
No, 60,000.
Oh, 60,000. Okay.
For Chris Dickerson.
Okay, yes.
It's up there, and it's interesting. There's obviously, to have a high PDGA number like that on lead card is saying a lot about Chris Dickerson.
It certainly is. Yes, and Barry Schultz, who I was referencing, I think he's 6840 or 6840, I believe is his. And again, another contender up there, in that over 40 availability up there. So very interesting to see. All right, you got anything else you'd like to share with the world?
No, glad to have you guys out here. We're excited. Next year we are separating the Amateur and Junior World Championships into a separate event where there will be the Junior World Championships and the Amateur World Championships. And we believe that the youth, the juniors are the future of the sport in many aspects, and we are really excited to facilitate a Junior World Championships exclusively for 2018, 2019, and 2020 in Emporia, Kansas, and the fields will be able to get many more players in there for that event, and hopefully can fuel the fire for a lot more juniors to get more competitive with disc golf. So we're doing a lot of things in Emporia to make sure that the juniors can come in and have an amazing experience, and build up to playing in the Professional World Championships, which is obviously where we're here today. So it's awesome to be here. It's awesome to see you guys, and just looking forward to an amazing week.
All right. Well, there you have it again. Jeremy Rusco of Dynamic Disc. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll cut you loose. We appreciate it. All right. We've got a few questions I see coming in off the board. Also, Marty Gregoire, PDGA Media Marty, had posted here on the board saying the footage is being put together right now by Jomez Productions and Central Coast Disc Golf. They should be available in the morning, same deal all week. So that's what you're going to see. Johnny, there's talking about a little bit of a lag. I don't know if we can pause it or do anything. Or
I'm not going to bother trying because it could just mess things up worse than it is.
It could screw up everything worse than what it is.
You have to deal with the kung fu fighting, this out of sync audio. If it bothers people that much, they can wait because we're going to put this out in an audio format as well. I'll pull all the audio. Bye, boys. Thanks for stopping. We'll see you guys throughout the course.
See you guys.
So the DD crew making an exit as they do.
Robert McCall, Bobby Brown, and Jeremy Rusco are going to call it a night. So, and we'll see more of them out on the course tomorrow. And again, moving forward throughout the week, I think we're going to see a little bit of action coming in. Specifically from Bobby Brown, as he's going to be out there filming Paige and some of the other team members, and then he said he would be willing to collaborate with us. So I know you guys want to see as much footage as you can. We're going to give you that. We've got a few minutes of footage. It was really a matter of me walking around today to get what I could.
Yeah, I was going to say, for tomorrow, our goal, and we'll get into this a little bit later about what kind of happened today as far as me and getting here, but our goal is to talk to Jomez and CCDG, and we're going to work with some of their footage as well. It's kind of like what people are calling a collaboration. You're going to cover some stuff, and I'm going to wander around and cover some things. When the round is done, we're going to try to throw some quick assets together so we can show you. But today, it was really hectic. Everybody was everywhere. There wasn't really a set card for us to truly sit and follow, and then on top of that, due to some scheduling issues, we weren't able to get a hold of Jomez's and CCDG's footage like we hoped to. So,
well, I know Jomez graciously had handed some of it off to, or handed it off to Marty. It's just really a matter of turnaround.
In time
is our biggest challenge, and it's going to be throughout the week. So we're going to do everything we can to give you what we can. But tomorrow, I'll also have then a full round from the third card. I'll know exactly where things are, and we'll be able to hopefully assemble things a little bit more smoothly and quickly. Again, thanks to Dalton, he actually helped assemble some stuff tonight.
That was awesome.
And hopefully it's going to just get a little bit better each night as we go on. So thank you guys for being in here and joining us tonight. We got a pretty sizable crowd. We really appreciate it. As I'm trying to check the board and see what we can do. One of the questions regards to live scoring, we'll either have Marty step in or we can just kind of bellow out some questions to him. So there were a few challenges. I'll go ahead and say it right away. I know that as always, it comes down to a number of volunteers that are physically there to either take pictures of scorecards and then enter them by hand, or if there's caddies that are walking along. That's kind of the ideal situation.
Kind of have the caddy take a picture of the scorecard and send it?
Or ideally, if the caddy is really savvy, they could potentially enter it in after each hole if they get logged into the system.
And not that they can do that probably at this event, but there could be... I could see a future in which if we don't have enough volunteers on site, why not just have someone take a picture of the scorecard, send it to like a Dropbox or something, where then we could have a volunteer from anywhere that happens to be available enter in the scores, and then you could have 10, 15, 20, 40 live scoring volunteers.
Sure, that's a possibility. Or as you're saying, text it to a certain number or something like that. There's a lot of different ways that could possibly be done. I know our PDGA intern, Danny, knows some. Danny was out there doing some scorecard action. Were you just kind of getting them from people or taking pictures? What were you doing?
So what I was doing was just taking Snapchat video, putting it on Instagram and Twitter, and updating that away because we actually had people doing live scoring today. So
okay. Okay. So, was there also any issue with some of the spotty signals and whatnot for people being able to upload the scores today? Was that a little bit of the issue?
Because the actual upload speed for that isn't very much. It doesn't require very much signal. So there were a couple people who said that at certain points on the course they couldn't. They had to refresh and wait a couple of holes to be able to update. But for the most part, no, there wasn't any issue as far as that goes. Now, I had issues uploading just simple video, so that was not good. But.
All right. Well, Seth says, keep up the good work, and you're killing it. Come here and say hi to the world. We'll interview you more later in depth this week. This is Danny. Go ahead and tell everyone your official position. Sorry.
No, you're good. I got a backpack on. Sorry.
We'll introduce yourself to everyone, and we'll have you on. We'll talk more later in the week, but introduce yourself to everyone.
Hi, I'm Danny Peterson. I'm from Central Arkansas. I am the Public Relations Media Intern for the PDGA for the summer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you come from?
Central Arkansas. So,
you said that.
She said that.
Yeah. I actually go to the University of Central Arkansas, and I'm got 1 year left. So.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for the insight.
That's great.
Thanks.
And we'll catch up a little bit more. So when everybody wants to complain, they send the emails to you now?
I get quite a few.
All right.
So have a good night.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the insight.
Thank you.
No problem. Just didn't want
We
we didn't want to knock any plaques off the wall. That would have been bad.
The Hall of Fame plaque. Yep. So tomorrow, I know at Fort Gordon, as we discovered from our live video testing, there are some areas that are much better than others. There's some areas where there's virtually zero cell service and signal, especially in the lower lying areas, down some of the gullies and whatnot. And some of the areas, the cell signal is actually not bad.
And we think there's been some speculation that some of that might be due to the fact that it is on the military installation. I mean, that is where the NSA is. We've heard some people say that they actually have some experience on other forts, so to speak, where they do basically block a lot of cell signal because and GPS, just because it is national security. So
sure.
Like I said, it was very strange that we found in some places really pretty good upload, which is what we need, and almost zero download,
yes.
Which is, for anyone that knows, if you ever do a speed test, it's usually the opposite. You usually see, because everybody cares about download. Everybody wants to pull things from Facebook or whatever. But this was the exact opposite. So we're thinking there might be some issues with the military base, but ultimately we're gonna get there.
All right. Well, not that I want to succumb to any kind of berating here, but Joe's is all about the footage. What we're going to do, and this is an audible for you, is tonight what we'll play is we'll get into the I don't know, 4, 5, 6 minutes of montage.
Yeah.
We'll play the footage, and then as we close out the show later tonight, we can go ahead and we'll play it again. So in case somebody came in late, there's 2 opportunities. It's going to be the exact same footage. So if you feel like you need to log off when we say we're cutting to it at the very end, but that way it'll show at least twice. Again, this is what we could throw together really quickly with our 1 1/4 man team or whatever that we had here today, roughly. So we are, we'll give you that, and then shortly after that, we'll have a couple interviews for you, and we'll go from there.
And this is our audio because there really isn't too much audio on this. So you know, you're going to hear us underneath of this. So
yes, correct.
So should we get to the audio?
Yeah.
Should we play it?
What
time is it? 9:40. We can wait till 10.
10:30. No, here it is.
Here it is.
Again, random footage that I acquired out on the course.
So this is Paul Macbeth. Do we know what hole this is?
A wooded one?
One of the wooded holes. And usually you can tell based on the putt. So this looks like Josh.
Yeah, that's Josh Anton, most certainly.
You can kind of tell. He's really getting in there.
That was outside the circle, death putt. Josh Anton, good.
Anthony Barella. You can really just tell based on the body type for him.
And still part of that little Turkey Gulch area after lots of ups and downs with the OBs nearby, Josh Anton.
I'm assuming that's hole 13,
yeah,
which is what it says on
as
there.
you're watching him walk up.
Now that's a dangerous putt because if you hit, you can roll back down behind you
correct.
just as far.
Here's a few shots that we got. I don't recall. This might...
is that Manabu right there?
Yes, this is Manabu Kajiyama. This is, I believe, the T. I don't know if you can actually see the T sign. If I recall, it was 15, maybe? Somewhere around that neighborhood. No, I'm sorry. If Philo... Yeah, I believe that is hole 15. Philo was throwing the forehand. I was slightly surprised by that. And
Max
then
Nichols.
Max Nichols, the lefty. Yep, 2 lefties on that card, if I recall. This is again out at the Jackson course from earlier today. This is Manabu.
This is Manabu. He just has the most pure forehand. I love watching him throw, preferably throw mid-range forehands because he's so good at it, but I believe that was a driver that he had in his hand.
He found himself, I only saw him for a number of holes today, and we can check the scores, but he found himself in plenty of trouble. I believe this is
Philo.
Philo on hole 18. And Philo was a little frustrated.
Hole 13 is an ace run, is that?
Yeah, you could say that it is. It's arguably the easiest of the 3 little holes. Beautiful form. That was, I believe, Jessica Hill. This is Cameron Messerschmidt. Now this is that same hole, but instead from the tee pad, as Cameron throws up a great-looking line. This is Aaron Doyle.
Cameron had a rough day today from what I saw as well. He's a little bit lower in the A pool after today's round.
Solid pickup there on hole 13. Will Schustrick had what looked to be a really star-studded group there, joined by Avery Jenkins out on the card.
And Jeremy Coling.
Yep, Jeremy Coling, and I'm trying to remember who the 4th was on their card, but had a great-looking card, and Coling was certainly making a solid run there for a little while. I know he had a relatively hot start, and I want to say he finished somewhere around 5 or 6 under par for the day.
Jeremy praying that he makes it through. He shot pretty well as well, Jeremy.
Yeah, he did. Needed a little bit of help there. This is Eagle McMahon, who we're going to see on the 3rd card tomorrow, going with a forehand. Same shot.
And Ricky's going to be on the 3rd card as well. That
exactly.
You're going to be covering. Now, do you think there's ever any... I mean, I know everyone says they play the course, but having Ricky and Eagle play together and end up almost similar scores, is that just by chance, or do you think they kind of maybe play to each other?
I think they pretty much both know their game plans and stick with them, but it is probably nice for them to see just
a little extra body English from Ricky there.
He needed it there. Avery Jenkins ripping a big drive here. Again, I believe this is the tee of 15, which is a it's got to be considered a par 4. Nate Doss had thrown one of the best drives I saw all day on it, and which is funny because Will Schusterich, after walking off this hole, was talking about a few years ago when he saw Nate Doss park that very hole. So very impressive that he was talking about it, and then Nate stepped up a few holes later and threw a great drive on the very hole he was talking about. And here looks like we are, I believe, on 16. I'm now down at the basket, trying to capture a few shots. It's Karina Knowles for the lone birdie on hole 12, and this is her, I believe, also then teeing on hole 13.
Yep, hole 13.
And I think she said she loves those kind of putts, or she's got that all day, is I believe what she said. Melody Weibel teeing off here. Hole 13 is just, it's a fun hole to sit at because I'm really honestly, I'm just waiting for somebody to put it in for the ace.
Yeah, and around that area of the course, there's a lot of really long holes. So you're not going to get a lot of really, with one camera, you're not getting a lot of action on those shots. You're going to watch them drive, and it's going to go off into the woods, like through the paths, we're saying, where you won't be able to follow it very well.
Sarah Lamberson taps in a birdie too there.
Or you're going to wait at the end, and you're not going to be able to see the guys throw, and you're just waiting for a disc to come in. So the shorter holes for today will be a little bit easier for us to follow.
And Jen Allen pumped. She says that was for bogey 6.
Oh, jeez.
But on a nearly 800-foot hole, I guess you can't complain. You'd rather have a sweet putt for bogey 6 than a tap-in double bogey 7. And Jessica Hill taps out there, ultimately with a birdie to finish off. Very impressive out of our montage. So really cool stuff to see out there. Again, I kind of just roamed around, and I found myself, Johnny V was trying to explain that when I found myself in that little par 3 area of the course, 11, 12, 13, you could follow tee to pin shots to give you guys some kind of relative idea of what was going on. When you're with just one camera, I think that's most relatable. They then went on to 14 and 15 and 17 and 18 are par 4s and par 5s. And they're throwing sometimes 200, 300, 500-foot tunnel shots, but they still have another 200 or 300 or 400 feet to go. So it's tough to tell just how great of a drive that is. So you'll see some of that action in the post-production, thanks to Jomez and Central Coast. But we wanted to be able to give you guys a few of the snippets that we saw from around the course today. So I hope that you guys enjoyed that. Tomorrow we're going to be able to bring you a more in-depth review of some of the shots. Speaking of tomorrow, I caught up with Greg Barsby. He was out there. I saw a few great shots from him earlier today. I think we're going to have an interview from Greg Barsby. I wanted to get a little bit of a recap of today, what if there's anything that's going to move into tomorrow. And you ready for that Greg Barsby piece?
Sure, we can have a quick Greg Barsby interview here. This will be just Greg. This will not be our audio. We won't be talking under Greg for this. So here's Greg Barsby talking about today.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Greg Barsby. We're here at round 1 of the World Championships in Augusta, Georgia. We played W.R. Jackson this morning. I was playing with Feldberg, former world champion, so that always kind of helps the mindset right away. I know I'm going to have somebody to push with, and Cam Messerschmidt as well, a couple good players. I just tried to be smooth and consistent out on the track, just hit some fairways. Did a really good job early of putting myself in good positions. Didn't necessarily convert everything in the first 5 holes, but I did make some really nice putts. I think I made 3 jump putts outside the circle in the front 9. The back 9 didn't treat me so well. I had a nice drive on 10, but I ended up scoring a 5 there. And then Turkey Gulch, I had a chain off that went out of bounds. So that took me back a couple there, but I stayed headstrong, stuck to the game plan. And a couple holes late, 17 and 18, both bit me off the tee, but I made really good up and downs there to score out with a 60. So it was a good round. I'm looking for a little bit more, but my putting feels really good, and if I can set myself into good positions, I should be able to score. So
second card. Excited about the round and being second card here at Worlds?
Yeah, I've been playing pretty well, so I'm just trying to stick to my game plan. I'm not really too concerned with anybody else that's out there. I know there's obviously the best players in the world here. This is the biggest tournament, so just really trying to fall into myself and do what I'm capable of and make good decisions and hopefully execute. That's the whole idea. So I am excited though. It should be a good match, and I hope the weather holds off because today was really nice. So yeah.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Terry.
All right. Yeah, sorry about the lag again. As we're saying, I think it might be due to the laptop that we're using here. It's not the powerhouse that we usually have in the studio. So we might be seeing a little bit of sync. We might try something different tomorrow night to see if we can get that a little bit better. But
I'm downloading 33 gigs of footage, if that matters right now.
Well, I'm uploading 33 gigs worth of footage.
Perfect.
So.
Perfect, as long as we got the transfers in. So thank you guys. We'd love to know if you have any specific feedback. Again, we're going to try and create a little bit more versions, what should I say? Some more segments. Have a little bit more structured segments as we move forward, which is going to be easier as the footage rolls in throughout the week. We do hope that you guys are enjoying it. We're here. Please interact with us. We're live on the chat on YouTube. And with that, I think what we can do is we can move into a little bit more action on the men's side specifically. I know we talked about the first 3 cards on the women's side. Let's talk about the men's side. We just heard from Greg Barsby. But
hey, how's it going?
As I spoke with Jeremy Rusco,
we're here at
2 Masters eligible players, which is my most polite way of saying over 40. 2 Masters eligible players, Johnny McRae and Cam Todd, respectively, in first and second, along with then Michael Johansson and Chris Dickerson. So Johnny McRae shoots a 12 under par, and Cam Todd shoots a 9 under, along with Johansson and Chris Dickerson.
What was really crazy about Johnny was that nobody knew, because they had updated his card at hole 9. And then it was a mystery up until literally the PDGA tweeted something like, "You're not going to believe what we're uploading."
In the first 5
and
holes,
sure enough,
did make some really nice putts.
he was, I believe Johnny was 6 down after 9.
The interview's still playing in the background or something?
Oh, is it?
The back 9 didn't treat me so well. Had a nice drive on 10, but...
Okay, that should fix it. Sorry.
All right, sorry about
that. Had it going, I must have put it over the interview. The overview was here. So as I was saying, Johnny McRae's score was unknown for 9 holes. Nobody knew what was going on. It was just he was 6 down after 9, and then he went to, he literally went to, was it 12 down? So he went 6 on the front, 6 on the back, and really kind of shocked, not shocked, because nobody's shocked when Johnny McRae shoots well, but really came out of nowhere when people were looking at the live scoring.
Yeah, correct. So, and I'll be the first to say, I was out there watching the scoring, and again, I was hanging out in kind of that par 3 area, and I watched Johnny McRae had come up around hole 9. Well, he had scoring through 9, and I was sitting on really holes 12 and 13 mostly, a little bit near 11. And it had said that he was 6 under, and I thought that was good. And I watched him, and I saw Steve Rico come in, who was +1. And I was watching the scores, and I didn't really have any further conversation to know what was happening. And then I caught up with Johnny McRae, and I watched him tee off on 16. I didn't think much of it. I watched him, I kind of scooted over to hole 16, which is another reachable par 3. It's a downhill. It's a great for a 4-hander. And Johnny McRae threw a backhand shot that then carried toward the OB and finished about that far short of the OB, less than a meter for sure, maybe closer to 18 inches short of the OB. He approaches from 50 feet and he walks off with a par. I don't think anything of it. Every pro is disappointed if you're not birdieing hole 16, so I'll say that.
So you're saying he gave one up to the rest
So he parred hole 16 and he moved on, and that was it. I guess I never really thought of it. Again, I saw he was 6 down through 9, but I didn't know what had happened since then. Well, as you just said, he went on, had a solid finish, and then ultimately came. So I didn't get a lot of footage of him because I didn't really know what was going on, because a lot of scorers kept up through 11, 12, 13, and his was one of the few that wasn't.
And he's never the type that's going to show you how he's doing on the course, whether it's really good or really bad. Usually he's a very stoic guy. If he's shooting poorly, you might see a little grumble now and then, but he's not a real big body language kind of guy on the course.
Exactly. So, and Johnny, not that players necessarily openly invite or disinvite, but Johnny McRae isn't usually one to say, "Hey, cameras, come on over here and follow me." He usually is a guy who seems to like them off in a distance, only because there's a potential for cameras and crew to
Distraction.
provide a distraction. So, you know, maybe it's good that I didn't know what was going on, and then I wasn't even had a chance to distract him. He went out to have his solid finish and is sitting in the lead.
He's not going to have that luxury tomorrow. He's going to have CCDG all up in his business, filming every one of his shots.
Yeah, so you will be able to see him tomorrow again. Him and Cam Todd, both Masters eligible, sitting in first place is McRae, as I said, at 12
And you've
under.
got Michael Joe up there, who's not far from a master. He's got, I think, 2 years, I believe, is what it was.
There's a lot of conversation, and I feel bad that none of us know for certain. I was saying I think he's like 36-ish.
I thought he was 37.
Okay, so he's somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah. So he's close. I know he's a regular out on the disc golf course review board, and he usually says, "Don't put me in that group yet."
Yes.
He likes to take. He's got a few years that he wants to enjoy while he's still an open player.
Well, so we'll see. A lot of people have picked him to do well. They know that he's a tight wooded golf kind of player. He really thrives and excels in that situation. He's obviously a very solid play overall, but the woods are, you know, he doesn't fear them. If anything, you should remember a few years ago, he took down Macbeth here at the International Disc Golf Center in a playoff. So if anyone's got skills, we know it's certainly Michael Joe is one of them. So sitting on that second card should be very exciting as well.
Real quick, we almost missed talking about Chris Dickerson.
Oh, I apologize, yes.
Yeah, Chris Dickerson, Prodigy player.
Highest rated player found on the lead card tomorrow.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess so.
He's rated 1028 as opposed to McRae at 1027.
I didn't realize.
Michael Joe at 1025 and Cam Todd at 1009.
I thought McRae had him, but okay. So Chris Dickerson, the highest rated top card player, not exactly what anybody would have expected coming into this, but he shot extremely well. He lit up the back nine more than the front nine. It looks like on the front nine he was only 4 down on the front nine, which is if you're looking at the scores there. Most of those lead guys shot between 4 and 6 under par on the front nine, but he then really stepped up on the back nine, only having one bogey out there. I'm sorry, one double bogey, but he also kind of previously had an eagle, so it kind of balanced it out.
Okay, well, we're excited to see Chris Dickerson plays for Prodigy Disc. Also interesting to see, I think we have 4 different manufacturers on the lead card tomorrow, so that might be something to take note of. Johnny McRae, of course, Latitude 64, Cam Todd Innova, Michael Johansson Discraft, and Chris Dickerson Prodigy. So
spread the love.
If anyone wants you've all got a various company to root for
right.
and or representative.
If you're a company man, you've got someone to root for, probably.
And then in fifth, or what would be a tie actually for fifth, another manufacturer in Discmania by Simon Lizotte. So some variety up there. So moving into our second card, as I just mentioned, Greg Barsby, Simon Lizotte, Devin Owens, and Paul Macbeth. That's who's on your second card tomorrow. That's a 12:30 p.m. tee time. They all are sitting at 8 under par. Again, Lizotte, Barsby, Owens, and Paul Macbeth.
Now, what the people are seeing right now is they're seeing the live scoring. So these aren't exactly in order. Terry is telling you what order, and this will just give you what they shot. So the order of which you're seeing them isn't the order in what they're going to tee off. You can go to PDGA.com, look at the live scoring, and that's at PDGAlive.com. But on PDGA.com, you can go to the world site, and you can look at the scores and find out tee times.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then your third card, or your third from final card of the day, the 1220 card, which I will more than likely be following along throughout the day, you are going to see Eagle McMahon, Ricky Wysocki, Barry Schultz, and Dustin Keegan. So those are who you're going to see tomorrow. Those are the 12:20 tee time. Again, Eagle McMahon, Ricky Wysocki, Barry Schultz, and Dustin Keegan. Those 4 will be your 12:20, otherwise known as your third card. I need the same. Pause for...
Excuse us while we just kind of... Both of us have been, well, you've been fighting a little bit of
I've
a
been
sickness.
fighting some allergies these last few days, a little nasal, head congestion. This 300% humidity, I'm not sure is helping out here.
So you're going to be covering the third card tomorrow?
Primarily. I believe that's where my focus will be, correct.
Now I had picked Barry to finish at least top 15, but I said I think he was going to get in the top 10 because I think Barry and Michael Joe's game is very similar. They're both accurate players that don't have the distance that some of these big arms do. They're more of, they're going to carve up the course as opposed to crush the course. I'll be curious tomorrow to see how those two particularly play on the front nine of the of Fort Gordon, because that is a more open and big arm course. So we're going to see if Ricky and Paul and Simon and Eagle can make a little bit of a separation there.
Well, we have Lance Brown, who also shot very well. Not only is Lance Brown sitting on that fourth card at 7 under par, but he's also out on the board. And one of the conversations taking place on the board, and understandably so, with regards to cigarette smoking. This is a PDGA major event where at the PDGA majors there is no smoking allowed. Tobacco products, I forget all the exact stipulations about vapes and chew and all that stuff, but there's no smoking allowed. And I was just asking Lance actually as to if he had witnessed or smelled any cigarettes, and I didn't at any point myself today, and we're not on any kind of witch hunt or anything. I know we had the whole conversation with Jordan Castro, and that's not where I'm going, but I didn't see of any today whatsoever, which is great. I mean, it shouldn't be really by the players, and then hopefully all of the caddies and everyone else will follow suit, hopefully.
Yeah, this is an event. Well, the caddy is an extension of the player, for those of you that don't know. So if your caddy does something against the rules, you can be penalized for that. So take that into account for all you people who maybe do have caddies in the future. Remember that they are an extension of the player.
Which I'll follow one step further. That includes, in this case, if they were smoking a cigarette, a caddy can't throw a disc to you.
Nope.
All right. A caddy can't be drinking beer, contrary to popular belief, and or maybe even.
What about media?
I think we can.
Yeah, right.
Tomorrow I will be.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. No. So again, if someone is acting in an official, we'll say an official caddy capacity for you, a caddy is a direct extension of you. Just like if a caddy were to start swearing uncontrollably or doing any other thing, they are a direct extension of the player. So you are responsible for what they're doing out there as well. So. Also, Dynamite Vichy is out there on the board. Good to see and hear from you, Dana, as we're bringing to action a little earlier, and let's address that real quickly. So tonight we started, of course, at 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to shoot for that time probably all 4 nights, including tonight. That's our plan anyway. That could fluctuate slightly.
Don't hang us if we're a little late. Remember, we're going to be trying to put together some assets for you and maybe a few storylines if we're lucky. And we are only 2.5 guys.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Dalton.
Dalton. I almost want to say Dustin. Dalton.
Yes. So that's what we're going to be shooting, though, is for 9 p.m. Eastern and then 8 p.m. Central, so on and so forth. We are, again, I know at least tomorrow night, we're planning on having Jeff Spring join us. He's going to be your 2018 Worlds TD. And then also we're going to be having an interview this week with Joe Chargaloff.
Oh,
so,
definitely Joe
those
Chargaloff.
are in store for you as the week moves on as well.
All right.
Okay. I just wanted to throw that all out there. And no, Alex or Alexis, you can't drink a beer. You thought it was America. It is. It's still America.
Still America.
You can't drink a beer if you're a caddy, though.
Definitely not.
So, yeah. Anything else? As I'm moving down the card, and I know you were just talking about, we talk about any anomalies, any surprises, dark horses, things of that nature. I'm going to move down the card. Lance Brown, again, shot well, shot above his rating. He's rated 998, shot 1033 to put himself where he is. Colin Carter, who I don't know that well myself. Colin had shot 1033 rated round. He's 1005. Nicholas Masters, same situation, 996 rated. Came in with a 1033 opening round. Then we see Coling, McBride, Cole Glazer, Colin Forehand, Adam Hamies from Wisconsin, and then Steve Brinster, Josh Childs, Charlie Goodpasture, Drew Gibson, Zachariah Johnson, and Austin Turner tying right now for 21st place.
And one of the things that we haven't really spoke on or talked about is the B pool.
Correct.
Now the B pool, for those of you that maybe
spread a little love around,
we'll explain it a little bit here. Now the B pool obviously is playing a different course. They split up the A and the B pool, so there are pros that played Fort Gordon today, and they will play here at I almost call it Fort Jackson, here at Jackson tomorrow. After tomorrow, when they've each played the same course, they will mix the cards again and shuffle them so that those players are up there. Because right now you're seeing at the top of the B pool, Cody Faircloth, who shot an 8 down, and the courses are different, so obviously you can't always go according to the course. But what you can kind of adjust for maybe is the PDGA, the rating of the round. So Cody shot a 59, which is an 8 under. It was a 1036 rated round, followed up by Justin Jernigan, which is a 1022, and Kyle Webster at a 1022, Weston Isaacs at a 1022, Matt House, and Ryan Kenny, all at 6 under. Now, if those are ratings that when you sort them, they are going to put you back in the A pool for sure. One of the things that, where do you think the A pool and B pool will separate after a day? About, if you had to average a rating, you think it's going to be about 1,000 or 1,010?
That's a great question, because it looks like there's about 70, if there's 70 players in the A pool, and we're looking at, in the B pool, there's 91. Yeah, that's a great question as to where the A pool cut line will be. I haven't really thought of that.
Well, if I do a quick sort by rating, yeah, I mean, it looks like, if I had to take a wild guess, as of right now, you're probably looking at about 1,000 rated, 1,007 rating, my guess, if I had to take a wild guess as to people that will for sure make the A pool. It might even go down to 1,000 rated, which would be about, as you said, 40 in the A pool for men? And
no, there's 70.
Oh, there's 70, okay. That's right, 40 in MPO, or FPO, I'm sorry. So we're going to see how it all shuffles out after a day. So just because we're talking mainly about the A pool, that's because the A and B pool were sorted by your initial rating. If you were 995 and above, you were in the A pool. If you were 994 and below, you were put in the B pool, more or less.
Okay, so we'll see how that how that's all going to shake out. Again, tomorrow night there will be a shuffle where they take all of the players who have they've at that point each played each course. So they'll put them all together and then have that cut probably be around 70th place or so, 68th and ties, or whatever the magic number is, somewhere around that 70 number, and that will cut, that will move on to the A pool. And so what that means is the A pool schedule for the week will be, if you're in the A pool, it goes Jackson, Fort Gordon, then it goes Jackson, Fort Gordon. So you'll be playing consecutively, well, you'll be playing those in that order is what I'm trying to say, for anyone that's in the A pool. And then the women will be playing the same as the A pool. They play Jackson, Fort Gordon, Jackson, then Fort Gordon throughout the week. One of the things that is certainly worth talking about out there is some of the field events. They were posted yesterday. There was some information on them. Of course, Sherry is out on the board. Her daughter, Jessica, won the putting competition. So I've said it and you owe me for mentioning it now, Sherry. As you could do what Vengeful just did and gave a $2 super chat. You want us to say something or acknowledge what you're saying, the super chat is the easiest way to do it. And but that's your last shout out, Sherry.
No, but I do agree with Vengeful. We are awesome and we will keep it up. So
thank you.
He did pay for us to probably say it, so
we appreciate that.
We're going to appreciate that.
No, but on a serious note, let's move into, like I said, some of the information regarding the field events, which took place. I'm going to go ahead and read through a few of them as posted on the PDGA website. Paige Pierce won the distance competition, throwing ultimately 435 feet. I don't know all the details as to how they did it. I mean, it was a regular distance competition. I don't know of the wins and the details. But Paige Pierce was recorded at 435, Jennifer Allen 426, Karina Knowles at 333. David Wiggins, I think he posted and said it was his 5th or 6th consecutive world's distance competition.
Who's going to knock him off?
Simon
Eagle
Lazat.
or Simon?
Yeah, Simon or Eagle, if they're doing it.
I was going to say, I don't even know if Simon
I think
wants
Anthony
to.
Barella can on a good weekend. I think he had an off day yesterday. He only threw 477, which I know he's got a lot more in him. Jeremy Coling on a good day
he's
can.
well over. I just, it's hard to me. It's
hard
to
think, course, yeah.
Because Wiggins, I mean, he's the world champion at distance. You know,
yes.
There was no wind to help it. No significant wind, at least.
Yeah, so David Wiggins, ultimately, though, his 630-foot throw won him the distance competition. Haken Viseth I apologize, but threw 609 feet.
Wow.
And then James Conrad. A lot of people see him throwing an AVR a few hundred feet in the woods, but he took third in the distance competition, 561 feet, besting LeCastro, Coling, Chris Dickerson, Anthony Barella. So very impressive.
Yeah, that's kind of amazing because you don't think of normally Conrad as a distance thrower because every time we've seen him, it's because he shoots so well in the woods and he shoots so accurately. He has that AVR, like you said, that he just puts on a line and he puts it wherever he wants to throw it within like 300 feet. So it's kind of, it's refreshing to know that he not only does he have that, he also has the distance.
He does, and I think it comes from his hair. Jeffrey Spring gives us the update as we move into the mini golf, and Jeff Spring, I'm going to save it. He gives me the info on the side because I was not there to witness it. In mini golf, Super, he goes by Super. Mr. Bertato shot a 47. He finished third. Steve Rico with a 44, and just getting edged out on the final hole, Steve Brinster hits an epic 15-foot mini putt to beat Steve Rico at the 11 under par. So congratulations, Steve Brinster. You are the 2017 mini disc golf world champion. And that's saying something because Steve Rico
like gets amped up for the mini event. He loves, obviously he's amped up for the main event, but he kind of feels like he owns mini golf. I think he practices. I
don't think he practices. I think he's good.
I think he throws minis a lot.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying he makes
Is that a
mini
short
course.
joke?
Well, a little bit. I don't think he goes out and makes his own mini courses, but I think he's good at throwing minis and he takes a lot of pride in that. So for Brinster to beat him on a 15-footer, that's kind of like hitting a 50-footer in regular disc golf. Go out, if you have a mini, go ahead and just try to throw some 15-footers and put them in those little baskets. Do you know what kind of mini baskets they use? Do they use the traditional that we've seen in the past?
Like a DGA, Mach 0.5s. Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they use this year. I know there's a mini disc golf federation that was using baskets for years. Now we've seen Dynamic Discs and others make mini baskets. I honestly, and Innova makes a mini basket. I'm honestly not sure which mini baskets they used. If I had to guess, only because I wasn't out there at the competition, I would guess it was a DGA Mach 0.5, but I'm sure someone out on the board can clarify for me.
Elevate mini baskets from the Mini Federation.
There you go,
so
the Mini Disc Golf Federation.
Yeah, they were not the DGA ones.
So
that's interesting because every time in the past I've seen, it's always been DGA almost.
Almost always, yeah. Except for there was a few years there where the Mini Disc Golf Federation kind of came in and did their thing.
It's good to have a standard if that's what we're going to go with for mini golf.
Well, they seem. I'll admit, I feel like they were really hot and heavy for a few years, and it feels like they've lost a little bit of steam. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure where they're at and what's going on. Maybe they'll send me an update and let me know. I don't want to belittle any of their efforts, but it seemed like they're really amped for it for a while, and then it seems like it's just. But anyway, great stuff out there. So we've seen that. So again, Steve Brinster, your mini golf champion. Congrats to him. Simon Lizotte, DFL. Not often you can say that.
Oh man!
Shooting a par 54.
He probably threw over the baskets too much because that guy crushes minis too.
I already mentioned her. Jessica Weiss winning the women's putting competition over Paige Pierce. Taking third was Kelly Muth. And on the men's side, Anthony Barella, who's here with his parents this weekend. They were two of the first people I saw on the course today as I walked up to get the footage. His mother and father were out here, so walking along with him. Anthony Barella, your world's putting champion. Dan Hastings was second, Josh Newton in third, and a Max Nichols in fourth. So congrats to them. The Skill Shot Challenge presented by Edge.
This is one of my favorite events to get out and play because it does, a challenge, so to speak, but you have to throw almost every type of shot. Forehand rollers, backhand rollers, overhand tomahawk, Scooby, backhand, whatever it is, you have to throw it. So this is one of my favorites to find out who wins this event.
Exactly. Well, it was Katka Bodova, who I had dinner with, her and her wonderful husband last year when they came to visit. And she's one of my sleeper fantasy picks and currently doing quite well. So she's your champion from the Skill Shot Challenge on the women's side. Kelly Tucker in second. Chris Dickerson winning it in open. And taking second to Chris was, in fact, Nico LaCastro. So congrats to them on the skill shot challenge. So very cool. Some fun little games that take place a couple days leading into Worlds, some of the extra field games. Not everyone participates. You opt in for it. You pay to get into it. There's a separate payout for each of the games. Some people really get into them and enjoy them, and some people, all but skip them. Some people would say, where's Paul Macbeth, or where's, an Eagle, or whomever in certain divisions. Some of those guys just are solely focused on the golf. They're not going to, concern themselves with some of the, I think Ken Climo once referred to them as reindeer games, and said they don't really interest him. And that's perfectly fine. He's got all the world titles to back up.
He can call it whatever he wants.
He certainly can. So as we move on, we'll give, I think we should have a timer set. I don't know if it's 15 or every 30 minutes. We should have a reminder, in fact. There is little to no cellular service here in Augusta.
You have to keep reminding me.
I think we do. That's why we're not live. And some people who are just joining us are maybe asking, why is there a live show now, and where is live during the day? There's not enough cellular service to be at Fort Gordon or to be here at the IDGC. And I want to expand on that for just 1 second and say, there was no shortage of effort. And I think that's where there has been some criticism, very unfair and unwarranted criticism of the PDGA, and not so much necessarily us, but of the PDGA. There was no shortage of effort in trying to come up with additional solutions that were of any reasonable expense. And someone's follow-up to that is constantly, well, why would you host a Worlds where there's not good cell signal? Well, here's a few things. For starters, there's 2 amazing courses that they're playing. And secondly, a few years ago, there wasn't any viable bids for this World Championships, for the 2017 Worlds. And at that point, rather than the PDGA saying, well, let's go someplace that maybe isn't ready, or let's go to some other courses that may or may not be up to par, or let's go to take a chance on some club or some organization that hasn't proven themselves. Rather than doing any of that, the PDGA said, hey, let's bring it to the International Disc Golf Center, let's host it in Augusta where our resources are, and let's put on the best Worlds that we can. And live disc golf was not it was something that could be addressed.
And I'll say this, the PDGA this particular year might be best to have it here at the PDGA event, because it is the first year that we've split off those other divisions. So we just have MPO and FPO. So having the PDGA here and doing it here is a very good way to kind of get your bearings on what exactly is going to be needed, what resources will be needed for this size of event. Because if you're scaling it down 50 or 60% from the other divisions, you're going to need less resources. So having it here, the PDGA can get a good general idea of what's going to be needed in the future. So when the future bids do come in, they can say, okay, you have enough resources, or you have ample resources. You could cover, maybe you want to think about doing an AM Worlds instead, or something along those lines. So it really, it sucks.
It does.
It sucks for us because we want to do it. We want to provide it to you, as we've all said. I hear people throw it all the time. Let's get one of the cellular cows to come out here. Mm-hmm. That takes at least 3 months' notice and $50,000 to $60,000. I hear people throw out satellite truck. Let's get them a satellite truck. What you don't understand about a satellite truck is you still need to get the camera signal back to the satellite truck to send it. So that means wiring up a course, running miles of fiber cable from a satellite truck to a course, through the woods, to all the different places we need them. That runs you, I think the last time I checked, it was like $20,000 to $40,000, depending on how big the course is. So we've thought about all these things. Now there is talks about something on possible Saturday, but we're not counting on anything. We're in contact with the Verizon rep, but again, it's going to be at Fort Gordon. We don't even know the capabilities of what is possible out there for anything Verizon may be able or may not be able to provide us. So we're not holding our breaths. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to try to provide you as much live as we can for Facebook Live and Instagram and Snapchat and all these other things. And Terry's going to be recording and I'm going to be recording. So that's kind of the thing. So if you see, I don't necessarily want you to all become keyboard warriors, but if you do see somebody out there really railing on them, let them know that there are other considerations.
Yeah, and it's been really frustrating because we, of course, are right in the middle of it, and we know that it hasn't been from a shortage of trying or of resourcefulness. And someone had just said yesterday on one of the many posts, saying, well, where is it and why don't we have it? I would be the first to balk if some absurd number of money was spent on having it just for the sake of having it for the 4 days, and it was just, we'll say, some absurd six-figure number, and that's just to make it possible. I'd be the first one to complain and say that's spending way too much money on something. I'd rather see that kind of money go into the purse or whatever. I mean, we just crested a $100,000 payout in the last few years. In the last few years. It seems absurd to say, okay, we're just getting there with our pro world's payouts, but let's dump $100,000 into being able to have it live for 4 days. Like, it just seriously does not make any sense. So,
and it only benefits us. We don't think it makes sense.
Yeah, correct, exactly. We're the company that wants to provide it, and we still don't even necessarily think it makes sense. Again, coverage is going to be post-production. Some people were just asking about where it's going to be and when. It will be all available on the respective YouTube channels of Prodigy Disc, Central Coast Disc Golf, and Jomez Productions. It'll be available on all of their channels as quickly as they can get them done. If you go to the PDGA front page, there will be links. There will be one central media page there where it then will link to all of the different post-production rounds.
I know I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. If you don't want to wear out your F5 key by refreshing their pages, go there, subscribe to all the pages and Smashbox, hit the little bell next to the subscribe, because that will alert you, I think via email or text or something. I think you can set up different alerts.
Oh, I call people.
Oh, you personally
call?
Yeah,
I called them.
Okay, Terry will personally call
you. So when I put up
you.
a video, I just call and be like, hey, it's available.
You better be watching.
Spoiler alert.
So hit the little bell, because it will alert you. I think you can set your alerts up in Gmail and how you want to be notified. And then as soon as it's up, you will know. You will be one of the first 50 people to probably see it, and then you can go out and spoil everybody else.
Exactly. So those will be available. Again, as we speak, I am betting Jomez, Central Coast, well, not Prodigy today. I didn't see him out there today, but Jomez and Central Coast are editing this very minute in another location off in a distance. They're editing something together right now that they got today, and that will be available. We'll be here for the nightly shows each night. We'll try and mix in as many shots as we can and interviews, but their full production round footage will be available. Nothing with Paige Pierce, blacked out. Paige Pierce. Steve Hill from Alta World is here, I know, and so I'm sure Alta World's going to be providing articles. Yep. I'm sure PDGA, Danny,
I'd like to get Steve Hill on the show at some point as well.
Says you. So, no, just kidding. Tons of stuff. I understand, we understand. You would love live, and we appreciate that you guys are so passionate about it. It's just not feasible, and it's not from a lack of effort. So, all right, did we show any shots tonight? Yes, we did, Disc Golf Nerd. We're going to close out the show showing a few more shots.
Do we want to
showing the shots again?
Do we want to show the Ragna interview that we
do.
have?
I caught up with Ragna a little earlier. She also graciously gave me a ride over to the overflow parking, but I caught up with her before that. As we know, Ragna took some time off, had a baby. Living in Michigan.
Really? That's why you take time off?
Apparently.
Birth a child, bring new life into this world, and you think you can take some time off?
I don't know.
And I'll say this. Her game looks pretty good for having taken a little time off.
It certainly does.
She is up in the upper third of the event. I think she's in like 7th or 8th?
Upper top 2 cards, top 2 or 3 cards.
Congratulations to her. I know she's put in a lot of effort to get back in disc golf shape and really work on her game.
Well, she was gracious to give me a few moments after I watched her finish out on hole 18 earlier today. And here is Ragna Big D Lewis.
It's been good. It's definitely the biggest kind of event that you can have as your first big event, I guess. I played a couple of small ones in Michigan, and so this is definitely my first big one. And being a major, it is the first time I've been nervous in probably, I can't even remember the last time I was nervous. So that feels pretty amazing, honestly.
Your first round is in. How did it feel?
It felt good. It just didn't kind of reflect on the card as well as I would have wanted it to. I played good. I made my putts. I just kind of hung out with the OB a little bit too much.
When you come back here in 2 days for round number 3, what will you change?
I will not throw OB, and then I'm good.
Do you prefer either of the courses, one over the other, that we're playing here at the World Championships?
I don't know. I thought I preferred this one, and then it was quite a bit harder than I remembered it from just yesterday. So maybe I'll have a pleasant surprise in Gordon tomorrow.
All right. Best of luck to you the rest of the week.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
I think
Again, a real quick update from Ragna. Tomorrow I'm hoping to get a few more interviews, a little bit more interaction with some of our players if I can. But I wanted to check in with her. I watched her play a few holes. Good to see her back out there.
I'm going to go out on a small limb and say it's partially my fault you weren't able to get some of that stuff.
It was.
I had some travel issues this morning. So I think I was talking to you last night, and I found out on my phone that my 7 a.m., I was supposed to be in at noon, my 7 a.m. flight was pushed back to 8:30, which means my connection flight, which was supposed to take off from Charlotte at, I believe, 11:30, I wasn't going to get in until 11:36. Or 11, I think no, I'm sorry, it was 11:05, and then I wasn't getting to 11:36. So I was like, okay, whatever. I took the 5 a.m. flight. I show up this morning at the airport at 5 a.m. I'm sorry, it was a 5:45 flight. I show up just about 5 a.m. It's literally like 5:05. I go to talk to the guy, say, okay, I'm here for the 5:45 flight. Airport's pretty dead. I'm gonna get through security real quick. He looks at me and he goes, you're too late. I said, well, what do you mean? He's like, you can't check your bag. We have a 45-minute wait period. And I'm like, 5 minutes? And he's like, policy's policy. And I said, okay, well, how about I get on the flight and my luggage will go on the next flight. He's like, nope, can't do it. You have to fly with your luggage. So at that point, now I'm pushed back from my 5 a.m. flight back up to my initial flight, which was delayed. And he said, you might be able to make that connection if it's delayed. And I was like, well, that's not likely. So I fly into Charlotte. I get there about 11:35. Sure enough, my connection flight was delayed to 11:30. I missed it by, I walked up to the concourse, E12. I could see the plane, but the door was closed. And
But it's like in the movies. Just be like, no.
And so they wouldn't let me on. But somehow my luggage made it on and not me. So I waited around the airport for another 4 hours till the next flight from Charlotte to
Which
Augusta.
in a shorter time you could have driven
I could have
here.
literally driven, but I would have had to rent a car or taken a Uber. So I ended up getting here at, I believe it was about 5:30. My luggage somehow made it at noon. Somehow my luggage made it faster than me. So it didn't fly with me. So American Airlines, I don't know if it got on that flight that I was supposed to in the morning at 5 a.m. and made all the transfers, or if somehow it transferred over. It really put all of us kind of in a bind. It put us behind the 8 ball because I got in so late. I wasn't able to be here for the day to do extra filming and some editing and things like that. So really today's lack of true content is more on me than anybody else. So I'll take the blame for that one. That and American Airlines. Up yours.
Which
Always
a
fly
lot of it
Southwest.
could have went a lot better had you just been to the airport on time.
5 minutes earlier.
Or on time.
The 5:45 flight, I should have been there apparently at 4:55 and not 5:05. And I'll say this, my Uber driver did not necessarily, well, he was in no hurry to get to the airport. And he didn't know, I didn't know, I thought I had plenty of time. Most flights, it's a half hour before in order to check your luggage. But for American Airlines, note to the wise, 45 minutes.
Well, that is a reason why Southwest is my airline of choice. Southwest, I got your back. Now you just need to get mine.
I would have taken Southwest, but unfortunately, it didn't work out for me because I couldn't fly to Charlotte. So flying to Charlotte would not have gotten me there, which is only where Southwest goes. So instead, I came to Augusta, and we'll get it worked out now. But so we're all set. We're all here. We are ready to go for the week. Our plan is, like Terry said, we're gonna kind of take it day by day. Tomorrow, Terry happens to be covering the third card. If for some reason the day after the third card doesn't really have any compelling stories, maybe Terry will do maybe follow FPO, or we'll figure it all out day by day, and then we'll kind of work it in, and we'll try to let you guys know the night before what our plans are.
So again, tomorrow night, I think we're coming to you live from Stillwater. I believe that is some kind of brew pub or restaurant or something of that nature. Again, I've just been given secondhand information, but I believe it is Stillwater where we'll be live. Stillwater Tap Room or Tap House or Brew House, something of that nature. I apologize to Stillwater for not knowing your name. I'm sure I'll know it by tomorrow, and hopefully forget it by tomorrow night. Because no, I won't.
So if I'm going to be there, maybe people just hand me drinks like they do you.
Maybe.
Normally
maybe
I'm
not.
sitting in my basement with a glass of water. Maybe if I'm lucky, a little glass of whiskey. But I restocked at home, so I'm pretty happy. We went to Meijer and we restocked on my alcohol. So for future broadcasts, I will be set.
And Alexis, I didn't send a shout out. Thank you for the super chat donation a little bit earlier. I appreciate it. Jeff Spring had asked, where is Nate Sexton? And as many of you know, if you're a regular Smashy, you know that Nate is tending to his pregnant wife, who is due, I think, any day now. Or very soon at least. So Nate is not competing here this weekend.
26th, I thought I remember. 26th or 27th, I thought he said was the actual due date, but he was not going to try to cut it close and maybe miss it or maybe not. It didn't make any sense. And you know, him being a wonderful husband and just in general a great guy, he made the right choice and skipped Worlds, which really hurts because he is right now, I would say, at the peak of what his career is. You know, he might still be on the upswing, but he is at the top of where he's ever been. So for him to miss Worlds this particular year is a little rough. So I hope he really has something to hold over his wife for a few years. And the kid.
Yeah, definitely. I would be certainly blaming.
I guess ultimately it's his fault though.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it.
If you really think about it.
I had to miss the memorial one year because of my daughter, so.
Shout out to super employee Tom.
Hey.
Thanks, buddy.
Tom.
Hey, guys.
Again, we've been here at the International Disc Golf Center. I've said it in a few other places, Utah in most recent memory. When you go to some places and there are a handful or a dozen different people saying, what can I do to help? What do you need? That's how I felt in Utah most recently, for instance. That's what we've been getting here at the International Disc Golf Center. Marty and Zach and Michael Downs and Big Dog Sweeten and Joe and Tom and just everyone that has anything to do with the event has been so gracious to us. We know they have a ton of stuff going on, and we're glad to be here. But thank you to all of the support, the PDGA, as well as the other post-production crews that are going to be giving you some sweet action throughout the weekend. So thank you. And as I watched Tom, I think helped set up our table and got us going for tonight. So thank you to again, to Tom, as I know he's running around doing a ton of stuff, as well as Vic. I don't want to forget Vic, who I saw earlier, as well as Tony, who I finally met here from the office, who was in here too tonight. So,
yep,
lots of good stuff.
I've met a few people when I walked in, and they all had the same. They all said the exact same thing when they ran into me, including Robert McCall.
You're uglier than we. No,
it's funny without makeup. No, you're way taller than I expected. Robert McCall and I were speaking when you were talking with Rusco, so I wasn't paying attention to anything you said. But he comes up to me and he goes, Terry told me you were tall, but like, really? And it's like, yeah, I'm 6'6", dude.
Yeah.
I'm a giant. I don't fit in planes very well.
Well, if you get to your plane,
if I get in the plane, I get to fit into it.
It'd be that much easier.
It'd be way better.
I'm not sure that we have too much more for you in terms of anything specific tonight. What was going on out here at the International Disc Golf Center? There was a free dinner for all of the players and media and everyone else.
Good chicken tonight. I had
some chicken and some other stuff going on. So that was provided out here. I believe there were some beverages of the alcoholic type that was maybe even offered. There was spike ball going on. And bags and other games that were all taking place out here at the International Disc Golf Center. Again, tomorrow we'll be at Stillwater, taking in the action there. That's where we'll be bringing you another broadcast as we move into tomorrow night. So I wanted to make sure that you guys knew that was going on. If you are interested in specifically sponsoring or branding, helping brand one of the potential segments in the next few nights, reach out to me, reach out to us. We are open to that suggestion as well. I know we've had a couple of different companies talk to us about that, so we do have some available offerings. Or if your club or your tournament is looking for some kind of official announcement that could be tied into what we're doing, we'd love to hear from you. So awesome to see as we move into tomorrow. You haven't seen Fort Gordon. I have. The only thing you've seen are dropping signals in frame from Fort Gordon.
Well, we did some signal testing.
Tomorrow is a beast of a course, as I mentioned earlier, over 10,000 feet. Like today, heat and humidity are going to be of a concern. You see a lot of rosin bags, a lot of powders and dirt bags and things of that nature. All the different ways for people to keep your hands dry.
Yeah, Ultraworld had a little Twitter controversy when Paul McBeth lost his rosin bag, and it ended up showing up a couple holes later. Someone had found it and brought it back to him.
Ooh.
But are we going to talk about the 2018 Worlds tonight or tomorrow?
No, we'll talk about that tomorrow.
We're going to talk about that tomorrow.
That was your tease.
It's a little tease for tomorrow, so tune in tomorrow.
And it's nothing massive. I don't want to
it's not like
overpower it.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy. It's just some interesting facts and differences and stuff. So
yeah, we're going to see and talk to Jeff Spring, who is your tournament director for the 2018 World Championships taking place over in Vermont at Smuggler's Notch Resort. So voted the #1 family destination for like the 50th year in a row in the wintertime.
Yeah.
And summer maybe too. It's a pretty amazing place. That's for sure. Chatter on the board talks about where we're going to see, Cam Todd and Johnny McRae. We again said our Masters eligible competitors are on the lead card. We're going to see them.
Just consistent.
We're also going to see Ricky Wysocki and Eagle McMahon, to name a few of them that we're going to see on the third card tomorrow. Paul McBeth on the second card. Again, Paul and Ricky tied. Ultimately, it's just a matter of PDGA number.
Yeah, there was some discussion on how they were going to sort it. For those of you that don't know, the PDGA can truly sort any way they want as long as they're consistent throughout the field. So I assumed it was right that it was going to be PDGA number. It could have been last name. It could be your
shoe size.
It could have been your rating. That would have
been your weight, your wingspan, your IQ. As long as it's consistent throughout the entire field, you can rate by any standard measure that you wish. Again, it just has to be applied. Yeah, it has to be applied consistently.
Well, and I was thinking, would it have been interesting to do it by your player rating? That would have bumped them both up to the second card. That would have kind of maybe thrown a bone to the post-produced guys, but they went straight PDGA number. And it's going to spread them out a little bit. And I know people always want to see Paul versus Ricky, but we get a lot of that. So it's kind of interesting to see how they shoot away from each other. Whether or not they're both going to shoot well. Let's not be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, again, it is very standard. Almost at every event that I go to these days, the largest scale events, it is almost a given that its PDGA number is going to be that first tiebreaker. Well, of course, for those who don't know, maybe we should back up. Anytime two players are tied, let's just play pretend and say Johnny V and I went out and played tomorrow, or we're playing in a large scale event, and we have the exact same score at the end of the round. What they'll always do is you first look at the previous round score. So if, of course, we had played 2 rounds and we shot the exact same score the first 2 rounds, there's no tiebreaker there. Then they move into what can be any really measure of tiebreaker. And like I said, it's almost always the lower PDGA number. It'd be interesting to do higher PDGA number as well. But they always do the lower PDGA number. That's the most consistently applied tiebreaker.
And especially for
after
events
the previous round.
Run by PDGA members. But I have been at events where they've gone by last name because
Correct.
It could be that the tournament director has the scorecards and he doesn't have the PDGA number on the scorecards. I'm sure a lot of you who have played tournaments will notice, in the score ports, they just maybe have your name and a score. So a lot of times what they'll do for tiebreakers is just use your last name.
Yeah, that is also relatively
that's right
common.
There. So it doesn't have to be PDGA number, as we said.
No, correct. But it is that's a very common way to do it. And again, most of your larger scale events that you're at, they have that, they're processing it all online. And so therefore some of that, calculation can be done very easily for them. So looking forward to it. Also like to thank Marty Gregoire. He helped with a thumbnail tonight. He'll be doing a few of our graphics throughout the weekend as well. Stu Mullenberg is here taking photos. I didn't see all of the photographers, but I noticed Stu was here running around taking photos, so you're going to probably see a bunch of those. A lot of people keep
World everywhere
asking about when the coverage is going to be posted. This is like, I'll say, every other large scale event. They will film throughout the day, usually 2 or 3 cameras. Central Coast and Jomez have now pretty much moved to a 3-camera operation, a throw cam, a catch cam, and then a slightly higher frame rate resolution, fancier reaction camera. So they'll film throughout the day. They'll decompress for about 22 seconds on probably their drive back to a hotel, and then they immediately begin editing, and then most of the time, They put together a rough cut or what's a near final cut, and then they will have somebody do some form of commentary over the top of it. Now, I'm not sure this week.
Well, and especially because normally they
Who's
get
doing commentary?
Yeah, well, normally when they get the commentary, they get whoever's leading the division, or maybe it was right up there a top pro. That's probably teeing off later in the afternoon at like a 1 or a 2 o'clock. But we're seeing some earlier tee times. We're looking at 12 to basically 12:30
for final few cards.
So I don't know if those particular players are going to want to go to wherever they happen to be and take that time, because you're cutting an hour and a half out of what they're normally used to.
Hour to 2 or 3 hours.
So ultimately, we're going to see what they do, if it's going to be just the CCDG guys doing commentary. I had heard Nate Sexton was wanting to do commentary on some of the videos, possibly remotely, but I don't know. We're going to see.
Okay.
Your guess is as good as mine. I'd love to get some of those guys on the podcast at some point.
I guess we'll just have to ask them. Yeah, exactly.
But ultimately, they're busy right now doing their thing.
Yeah, so that's what's taking place right now. I would expect by the time you wake up, you may or may not. Again, it depends on what their format is. You may or may not see some footage right away when you wake up. If not, I'm guessing you'll see either 9 or 18 holes. Hopefully by the start of the second round. You'll probably see at least a front 9, if not all 18, by the start of the second round tomorrow. So that is what you can expect. And that's standard at almost every event these days, is that, the footage that's shot today is then out by, I think there's even a tagline somewhere that says next day, all day.
That would be a Jomez thing.
So you can expect that tomorrow. That is, is Johnny Football there for CCDG? Yes, he is.
Ian is actually the one who's not here. He said
correct.
He could not. I talked to him offline, and he said he couldn't get the vacation days. He's kind of spent them up for what he has right now on a lot of previous events, and he was, him and I were kind of remiss. I was like, I haven't seen you in a couple of years or whatever since GPO, I think 2 years ago. And he's like, I'm going to fix it coming up, because he's like, it just sucks not being here. And I agree.
So that's what you should see tomorrow.
Yeah. We can probably get this wrapped up pretty quick. We'll show the footage that that Dalton had cut together for us. We will kind of get things going, and tomorrow night will be, like you said, at the Stillhouse?
Stillwater.
It's still
tap room, brewery, pub house.
Craft beer and live music. So hopefully there's no live music tomorrow when we're trying to do our podcast.
Well, it's going to be on a different floor.
Oh, we're going to be on a separate floor, so hopefully we can maybe pull some of the players in. So Terry, you want to maybe wrap this up for the night?
I most certainly will. Do we have anything else from PDGA Media Manager Marty Gregoire off camera? Anything else? Or on camera?
I recently posted an announcement about the Fly Mart. It was scheduled for Saturday. It's now moved from Fort Gordon Saturday to here on Friday.
Okay, for those all who have been following along, the Fly Mart, there was a Fly Mart that was originally scheduled for Saturday at Fort Gordon. I think there was a few specifics that were challenged by, at least in talking to Mike Barnett a little earlier, and probably Marty could clarify. But long story short, is the Fly Mart come to the International Disc Golf Center out here in Appling, Georgia, where we are right now. Partake of the center and come enjoy the Fly Mart. I know there's going to be a number of vendors. I saw Cam Todd out there. I know Mike Barnett from Discraft and Sun King is here represented. Innova is represented, and I know there's going to be a bunch of others. So if you were planning on doing any Fly Mart action on Saturday, you get paid on Friday. Just come on out here on Friday and partake at the International Disc Golf Center. So make sure you do that. It will be here. It will not be at Fort Gordon on Saturday. That is where the finals will be taking place, the final round, but not the Fly Mart. So come out here and, again, partake for sure. Ken Climo is not playing. I saw that question asked on the board, so I'll mention that real quickly. Climo, I think I saw him post earlier in the week saying if he was healthy and feeling better, he would be here, but he said he is not competing here.
I don't think that's what he said. I think he said if he was healthy, he'd be winning.
Oh.
No, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
We'll say that. He would be. There will be food out here as well, I'm guessing, on Friday's action. I'm just going to tell you there. If there's not, bring pizza for me and Johnny, please. But I think there'll be food and SmashBox big hugs, according to Johnny.
Free ones.
Okay. So we're going to close things out tonight. Anything else, Marty? Check PDGAlive.com for scoring updates. You're going to see more scores probably a little bit more frequently tomorrow.
Follow PDGA on the Twitters.
The Twitters.
Everything's posted at PDGA.com/2017ProWorlds. Everything you could ever need to know about this.
PDGA.com/2017ProWorlds.
Correct.
That is where it is. There's no live footage.
Nope.
Yep, I think we're right on the mark. No live footage. Do not count on any live footage. If you need to know why, rewatch the podcast. I'm not going to explain it again, but no live footage throughout the week. We're at the Home 2 Suites if you need to visit us in Grovetown. So, on behalf of everyone that's here tonight and that was here this week and the weeks leading into it, I think Dalton said he had already worked a few hundred hours in the last few weeks and then performed a little editing tonight. So for those crews that are out there editing your footage together for tomorrow, that's Central Coast, along with Joe Mez. We wish them the best of luck. Make sure you enjoy their action tomorrow. Check out PDGA.com/2017ProWorlds for all the Worlds action. We'll have a live wrap-up recap show again tomorrow night from Stillwater, where I think we're going to have some more players and more interviews and interaction. So we hope you can join us for that. We're going to close out the show tonight. We're going to give you a little 5 or so minute montage of some shots that were captured out at the Jackson course. For Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, that is Worlds Recap, day number 1 here at the 2017 PDGA World Championships from Appling, Georgia. We'll catch you guys tomorrow when you step inside the Smashbox.
Bye, little man.
Just go in. Please go in. Please go in. Just do it. Just do it. Nice. Nice one. Hook up.
No, don't turn over.
Come on, right? Come on.
For sure. I watched Nate Doss park it.
Cuddle. Scoot over.
Nice.
Yeah.
Why do you say that's sick?